Hey, MGTOWs, this is Vention. Sorry I haven't been hosting very much. Thing is, I made my channel back in 2012 because I looked around and I saw so many MGTOW, especially so many young MGTOW who were so angry. And I was shocked, right? And because I guess I've reached a level of acceptance or something because I remember it was surprising, and then I remembered it all came back, and suddenly I felt that anger again, right? And and I realized there's a lot of guys out there who are in trouble, right? They're being brutalized, and they're being and they're and they don't know it. They didn't know what to do. I mean, it's and then I looked at my own life, and I had been so happy and pretty darn content, and and I didn't really remember until I saw the videos from like like you know Barbarossa, Stardust back in the early days, and and other MGTOWs, and they were so angry, and I was like, and it all came back to me, and then I was angry too, and and then I realized, man, these guys need a little bit of help. It's like they need to know is that it gets better. About maybe 10 or 12 years down the road, you can build a life for yourself that most married men just can't even conceive of. And a lot of guys, it's almost as if they feel the need to be, fully engaged and totally committed and trapped almost. And women just use the family court, and they just brutalize the shit out of him, and it's really nasty. And then everybody was so angry, and then I realized that I am not angry anymore. At least I have moments, but generally I'm not angry. And then time went on, and now, geez, I'm retired at 50. I was just retired at 54, and now I'm 55, um, and I've lost all this weight. I've lost 92 pounds, guys. Man, I highly recommend fasting and low carb. Even if you don't have cancer, I highly recommend it. I'm a diesel mechanic making health recommendations, so don't take it seriously. But but I feel so amazing. I'm down to 153 pounds and 92 pounds gone, and it's unbelievable. The only thing I have to indicate that I was once fat is all kinds of stretch mark and creases all over my abs, because of all the fat I had, and then as I've lost it, I got some loose skin, but it's mostly, through autophagy. When you go into fasting, your body breaks down all of these extra tissues, including extra skin, and most of my skin is pretty much tightened up. I don't have any really loose skin hanging anywhere. Everybody says you're gonna lose when you lose weight. You're gonna have skin hanging everywhere. Didn't happen. The skin appears to be getting broken up and metabolized along with all the other tissues in autophagy, and the result is I'm starting to actually look pretty darn healthy. And I find it sarcastically amusing that I had to get cancer in order to be good looking. what a what a, what a joke. um, it's like and I waitresses and whatnot. I have to explain, give them a moment to understand why I'm ordering such weird food, so low carb and everything, and it's cancer. I can't eat those hash browns. Sorry. And then they want to hug you. It's like, oh, come here. And I'm like, ah! But it's like, I guess I'm programmed or something. You let grandma hug you and slobber all of you. It's like, okay, you can maul me, and then they want to do that more now. What a joke! What a pathetic joke. Anyway, and it gets better when you go MGTOW and you like ramp your spending down to minimum and then sock away all that money that you can, and every dollar you sock away, every Bitcoin you sock away, adds to your options. If you build up a bigger and bigger surplus, and then suddenly you want to move to another state and relocate, you have the means to do that without going into a bunch of debt. And speaking of that, my plans are morphing. They're not really changing. They're coming more clear. And I'm thinking that I will take the camper, right, as soon as I fix a few things on it, a few more things on it. I think I might just take it back to Arizona and then either rent a place or maybe stay in a mobile home park or trailer park or something, RV park. And then when I need medical, which I almost certainly will, I can just hop across the border to Mexico, because, man, the medical, my medical insurance, it's supposed to be this great subsidized deal, but they raised the price to like $9.90 a month, or basically $1,000 a month. And why should I pay that when they don't want to cover any of the medical that I want? They don't cover the naturopath, they don't cover the vitamin C IVs, they don't cover any of my meds or supplements. And I even went to Costco to get metformin, which is one of my prescriptions, and they don't pay for it, right? They say, no, you don't have a you don't have a medication. It was only $16, but honestly, I'm not getting anything out of that medical. So I canceled it. And a lot of people think that, it's really dangerous to do that, but if they don't pay for what I want anyway, who cares? And I have enough surplus that I can be pretty much self-insured. If there's like an emergency and I need an arm set or something, or a broken bone fixed or something like that. But if I move to Arizona or New Mexico, then I can just zip right across the border for any medical or glasses, and plus the cost of living is a lot cheaper down there. A house that you can, let's say an apartment you can rent up here for like $1,600 a month, will go for like $700 a month down in Arizona and New Mexico. I was just looking at Zillow, looking at rental properties and stuff. So my dream come true would be to like have a rental house or something down there, and then I could just back the camper right up to the porch, right? And like some kind of docking bay, and then I could just walk right back and forth, and the camper would be an extended living space then. So that's a pretty darn attractive thing. And then of course, if I get tired of the RV lifestyle, I can always, put it into storage or sell it, and then take off to Mexico, take off to Thailand, take off to Philippines, see how I like it down there. I'm susceptible to culture shock, and the Mexican culture is closer to American. And geez, when you speak English, you almost speak Spanish too, in a way. It's like Afruero del Prieto. It's like a lot of outside the airport, right? There's like a lot of, you can almost kind of hear it and understand it. Plus you got Google Translate, and it's a lot, the sentence structure is a lot more like ours, and the written language is certainly a lot easier. So yeah. And I think I have more in common with Mexicans than I do with Thais or Filipinos and stuff like that. It's like, they're closer to European than that. And it's like less culture shock that way. So that is kind of what I'm thinking of doing. And so, yeah, I canceled my medical insurance, and a lot of people just go, ah, when I tell them I did that. But if I'm not getting anything out of it anyway, who cares? So that is what I wanted to just cover. I'm thinking that I will relocate to the southwest. So that is one thing. Second thing I wanted to cover was the super glue trick. I just had my mouse transmitter on my laptop because my old laptop doesn't have Bluetooth. And as you can see, the little cap's coming off. So this is a good time to demonstrate the super glue trick. I don't know if you guys know about this, but basically you can take, like I smashed my one of my stove handles over here during the trip to Arizona. And all I needed to do was, here, let me see if I can show it to you. Notice how it's all built up in here? It's like you can create something almost like your own plastic, right? You just take some super glue, right? Put it on there, and then takes a pinch of baking soda. I wonder if I think I've got some here. Should have paused the video for this. Huh, where's the baking soda? Okay, well anyway, I'm going to pause this for a second. Found it. It was in this little upper compartment here. Anyway, what you do, take your super glue, put a little bead on it like so. There. Put one on the other side. Try not to glue my fingers together. Good. Put the cap back on it. Man, I'm a cheapskate. If I was a normal person, I would just buy a new transmitter from. So then you take a little bit of baking soda and just put it on it like so, and then sweep the floor after you're done. Blow it off a little bit, and then it creates this little composite. Then you can add another layer of super glue on top of that. I just drank a Bang soda because I was a little bit zoned, and now I'm all then put a little more baking soda on it. This is the coolest little trick. You can almost create your own plastic in a way. And you can see it starting to build up on the side here. It's not going to be pretty, but and it solidifies to a hardness that basically you can't get with just super glue. Even if you let it dry for days, you're not going to get this hard composite material that you will with the super glue trick. And it'll solidify almost immediately. And so you don't have to wait like hours to get it to bond. There. It's like some kind of catalytic thing. And you can squeeze it a little bit to get the super glue, the little bit that isn't exposed, and it squeezes out. Then it joins the composite. And as you can see, it is building up. And I'll add another layer. It's a little bit like welding. Except with the sudden blindness when your visor doesn't activate. I've always had a problem with those electronic visors. It's like, what if the darkening function doesn't work suddenly and you're like, well, let's see if we can weld this thing. I just give me one of those normal ones, nod my head, drops down, weld, and go on with your life. I think that's good enough. There. And as you can see, I put a whole tube of super glue in this thing, and it is freaking rock solid. I do love being a mechanic. If I ever get really bored, I could just grab some tools, plop my resume down on in some diesel shop, and they would go frickin' nuts once they saw my resume. So I will. So I'm thinking of moving. I'm really strongly considering moving to the south, and I think I will go down there soon, fairly soon, and investigate places like that. Then I can just hop right across the border, all the medical I need for not very much. Or I could take a really short plane ride into farther into Mexico and really benefit from the lower prices. So that's just a thought. Other than that, living the dream, loving the nice increase we're having in Bitcoin. It tends to go up pretty dramatically, but it generally doesn't go before the halving. It usually goes up a little before the halving, then more afterwards. So probably after May, I would not be surprised to see sometime this year approaching the all-time high, maybe 18,000 or something like that. By the end of the year, we could quite easily hit the all-time high again. So man, if I was still working, if I didn't have cancer, I'd probably still be working and probably saving money until I dropped a truck on myself and died. But basically, I would probably still be working because, being a mechanic is painless to me. I really actually enjoy the work, and it makes you physically strong. But I think it's time to stop moaning about the past and explore and enjoy the future that I have, the freedom of MGTOW. MGTOW is freedom, and since John has his channel is gone, I guess I can use the expression again. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you go and go plug this thing back into my old laptop, and don't get married.